Hello quilters. Well, today I would like to show you a new embroidery stitch we've got for our We Can Build a Snowman block of the month, and that is the slip stitch. That's what I use to fill in the star that's in this block 10, and it just gives it a nice texture, and you can kind of see I've used a lighter yellow and a darker yellow and kind of went around and did the outline with it and then used it for the fill inside. So I wanted to show you how to do that stitch. So I have my little sample piece here, and I need to thread my needle. So I've got a knot tied on the back, pulled it through what I want to do for a stitch length from my drawn line. Now I'm going to do this very similar to how I like to do the back stitch. And so I've taken my first stitch there, then I'm going to stick the needle in here and then come up my stitch width from, or stitch length from my starting point. Now this is where the split stitch happens. So I'm going to stick my needle back down in here and split those two threads apart and then take my next stitch. And do that again. Split those two threads apart. Sometimes that's the hardest part. And then take my stitch. So on the snowman block, I just worked my way around the outline doing this split stitch. You want to try to keep your stitch length even. Sometimes you have to take littler ones, especially going around that star. I found that when I'd come to the point, I sometimes had to take a smaller stitch to make the point work. So, like I said though, I also use this for the fill inside of the star. So I'm going to take a little last stitch here on this line. And then I'm going to pretend I have gone around my star and show you how I then would fill. I'd be working this, you know, I keep going around on the star. I kept going around the same direction over and over and over. Here I'm going to have to flip it around to show you that when I do the fill, I want my stitches to be right next to that previous stitching. So I'm going to make a starting stitch here. And come up right near where my previous stitches were. That first stitch is going to be a little short, but just to give you an idea. And so then I'm going to come through that one and come up as close to those other threads as I can get. Basically just do the same thing as you work your way around the inside of the star. And so you have that nice texture going on to fill your star. And by keeping it close to the previous stitches, you will have a nice solid, like I showed you with the star, it'll fill in nicely. There's a little, you know, little gaps in there that help to give it a little distinctiveness to the stitch, but you just keep working your way around that star with those slip stitches and you'll have it done in no time. So actually a pretty easy stitch to do once you get comfortable with how it works. It works best if you have a thread that you can split. So in this case I've used 2 strands of embroidery floss to split. So, but there we have it, the split stitch. Well, happy quilting, and I look forward to seeing your blocks as you finish them.